The Chargers just got hit with another coaching twist. And this one changes everything. Mike McDaniel's name is back in the fire. And now it's starting to feel real. And if this next part breaks the way it's trending, Chargers fans, you're about to win the offseason. And real quick, if you love Chargers talk like this, smash the like button, share this with another fan, and subscribe right now. Alright, let's get into it, because the Chargers coaching situation just took another turn, and it's one of those moments where you can literally feel the league shifting around you. The biggest headline, the thing that matters most right now, is that the Chargers are still right in the middle of the Mike McDaniel sweepstakes, and the more you look at how the other teams are moving, the more it starts to feel like the Chargers are sitting in the best possible spot. And here's what makes this so important: the Chargers just lost their defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, and that's not a small loss. That's not a "we'll just figure it out" kind of loss. That's the architect of your defensive identity. That's the guy who had this unit playing with discipline, structure, and a clear plan. But instead of panicking, the Chargers can flip this into something even bigger, because if you replace that loss by upgrading the offense into something terrifying, you can cover up a lot of things. And that's why Mike McDaniel is the prize. Not a prize. The prize. The kind of coach that changes your entire vibe, your entire personality, the kind of guy who walks into a building and instantly makes your quarterback feel like he can throw for 5,000 yards without even trying. The kind of hire that makes the rest of the league go, wait. They got him. Now at first, there was a lot of confusion because the coaching carousel this year is messy. Teams are juggling interviews, names are flying everywhere, and fans are trying to piece it together like it's a crime documentary. One day it feels like McDaniel is linked to one team, the next day it feels like he's pulling out of something, and then the rumors shift again. At one point, it sounded like Mike McDaniel was connected to the Buffalo Bills job, and then, suddenly, that whole conversation started drifting because Philip Rivers is now tied into the Bills' interview process too. And once that happened, the whole dynamic started changing. Because now, you're looking at it like this: if McDaniel isn't going to Buffalo, and he's not taking one of these other head coaching paths, then where does he go? And when you scan the league right now, you see one obvious threat sitting there trying to steal him: the Raiders. And I know Chargers fans hate even saying that out loud. But that's the reality. The Raiders are hovering in the background like that annoying neighbor who only shows up when they smell something good cooking. But here's the thing, and this is the part that should get Chargers fans fired up. The Raiders' coaching search is packed. The Raiders have a long list of candidates, and the names they've been tied to aren't small names. They're stacking interviews with a bunch of coaches connected to teams that are still playing, coaches who are involved in deep playoff runs, meaning this process is taking time, and the longer it takes, the more chances the Chargers have to be the landing spot. Because think about it, if the Raiders were completely locked in on McDaniel as their guy, wouldn't it feel cleaner? Wouldn't it feel more direct? Wouldn't it feel like the Raiders are sprinting straight toward him instead of casting this massive net? So here's the key point: the Raiders have been publicly linked to multiple candidates, including Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, Denver Broncos coach Davis Webb, and Denver defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, names that show the Raiders are still in evaluation mode, still in interview mode, still collecting options. That's important. That means it's not McDaniel or bust over there. It's a full-blown competition. And when you hear that, Chargers fans, you should be smiling. Because it means McDaniel isn't walking into the Raiders' job with a red carpet rolled out. It means he's competing for it, fighting for it, and possibly even being kept as a secondary option. Now here's where it gets spicy. One national NFL reporter, Benjamin Albright, was asked a simple question: what's more likely for McDaniel? Raiders head coach, or Chargers offensive coordinator? And the answer: Chargers offensive coordinator. That's what you want to hear. That's the kind of nugget that makes fans sit up straighter. That's the kind of thing that tells you the league chatter is leaning your way. So right now, the way this looks is simple. If the Raiders start moving toward second interviews with other candidates, or if you get a sign that McDaniel isn't their top choice anymore, then the Chargers become the obvious landing spot. And when that happens, it won't just be a nice hire. It'll be a statement. Because the Chargers don't just need an offensive coordinator. They need an offensive identity. They need a modern system. They need something that makes opposing defenses miserable on Sundays. And if you compare that with Justin Herbert, it could get very, very ugly for the rest of the AFC in a hurry. But let me ask you something, are you ready for what it means if McDaniel actually takes the Chargers' job? Because this isn't just better play calling. This is tempo. This is spacing. This is making every defender wrong. This is turning the middle of the field into a trap. This is turning your offense from, we should score here, into, we're scoring here, deal with it. And while we're waiting on that decision to become official, there's another Chargers topic that deserves way more attention than it's getting right now. Khalil Mack. Yeah. Khalil Mack. Because PFF dropped a breakdown that basically highlights each team's top-graded free agent, and for the Chargers, the top guy popping up is Khalil Mack. At 34 years old, still playing at an elite level, still putting up an 80 overall grade, still being one of those guys where you watch the tape and go, how is he still doing this to people? And it's not just pass rush stuff either. He's still holding it down against the run. That matters, because there are plenty of older edge guys who can still hunt quarterbacks a little bit, but when it comes to setting the edge and doing the dirty work, they start fading. Not Mack. So when you ask the question, do you bring him back? I don't even know how you hesitate. If he wants to keep playing, you bring him back. And from everything he's said, there's no real sign he's gearing up to retire. If anything, the vibe is the opposite. He's still chasing something. He still wants the ring. He wants to win a championship. And that's why this coaching stuff ties into everything. Because if you bring McDaniel in, and your offense finally becomes what it should be with Herbert, suddenly Mack's life gets easier too. Because what happens when your offense stops going 3 and out every 5 minutes? Your defense stops being stuck on the field. Your pass rush gets fresher. Your fourth quarter effort gets cleaner. You start closing games instead of collapsing late. And that's not theory, that's football reality. The Chargers' defense has been near the top of the league in recent seasons, but it's been doing it while the offense has been inconsistent, and that's exhausting. That's the kind of imbalance that breaks teams over a season. So when you look at this roster, it's not like the Chargers are one move away. They're already strong. The pieces are already there. They just need that one hire that connects the dots. Now, another PFF nugget that Chargers fans should be talking about more, Dante Jackson being labeled as the team's underrated secret superstar. And listen, if you're a casual fan, you might hear that name and go, wait, who? But that's the point. Dante Jackson thrives in a zone-heavy system. That's what he's built for. That's where he looks comfortable, confident, and dangerous. He's the kind of defensive back who can bait throws, drive on routes, and play fast without constantly panicking about getting burned deep. And the zone-heavy system matters here, because Jesse Minter brought that Ravens-style structure to the Chargers' defense. It's a, keep everything in front, rally to tackle, force mistakes, type of approach. It's not the ultra-aggressive, press man and pray, approach that gets you cooked when one guy loses at the line of scrimmage. And even though Minter is gone now, the real key is this: Jim Harbaugh isn't clueless. Harbaugh has lived through enough defensive evolution to know what works and what gets exposed. He's been around the hyper-aggressive man-heavy